Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? So, looking at some old fights last night, man. The one fight that I watched both of the fights, but the first fight really caught my attention. It was 1969's Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year. And if you guys who haven't watched this fight, if you go and watch this fight, you will see why it was Fight of the Year. All right, we're talking Smoking Joe Frazier versus Jerry Quarry. It's funny, man. This fight card, on the undercard, there was this young Olympic gold medalist making his pro debut. He won in a third round knockout, Big George Foreman. The fight itself, Quarry and Frazier, it was funny because Quarry, although a short fighter, compact fighter, some people, when they look at the Frazier fight, they think that he was just a come forward type of guy. When actually, when I look at Quarry and I break down his style, he looked like a counter puncher. It's just, he was a compact, short counter puncher. If you threw shots at him, he wasn't going to counter you the way you see a Larry Holmes or Ali. He wouldn't counter you in that manner. He will counter you with hooks and uppercuts, power shots. He'll move a little bit. He wasn't dancing, but he will move a little bit, show some movement, try to get different angles to try to attack you. This was crazy because he went out there, and I think it caught Frazier off guard a little bit, but I also think it made Frazier say, cool, you want to fight in the phone booth? Cool. And for a moment, just watching the fight, it looked like he had a chance to beat Frazier. He backed him up. He was, man, these dudes, you talking about some great infighting, just the combinations these dudes were throwing. Quarry was landing this nice little, he was doubling up with shots. He was landing this nice, it's like when he was throwing a right hook to the body, then a right hook upstairs, and then he would pivot and turn away. It was just beautiful inside work. Both these guys were shoulder to shoulder. He was landing some good left hooks to the body. He looked a little stiff to me when he was throwing his shots. Looked like Joe was a little bit more fluid on the inside. But the first two rounds you could have probably gave to Quarry. The first round, I know I gave it to him for sure. The second round probably. Then after that, I thought it was a clean sweep of rounds by Joe. Although I thought Quarry was making it, he was fighting back. So I thought Frazier 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7, but it was just that, like, the first three rounds, Quarry had the ammunition, man. It looked like Joe was just wearing them out. He was just wearing them out. He started to bust up Quarry's right eye. That's what got the fight to get stopped. So he couldn't answer the bell. So they called it a 7th round TKO. He couldn't come out for the 8th round. He was pissed. He was pissed. He fought the ringside physician. He wanted to fight, man. But that right eye, it was swollen. It got cut. It was them left hooks. Joe was landing left hooks. Both these guys were taking each other's best shots and standing. When you watch this fight, man, it was so brutal. But it was funny because I believe it was like round 3 when Joe would step back and then just use his jab. Like in the second fight, he used the jab. This fight, when he stepped back and used the jab, boom, he'll knock Quarry's head back. And it almost seemed like the punches that were landing on Quarry from Joe looked like they had more effect because of Quarry's hair kept flopping. Even when it was just a little, I'm not going to say a soft punch, but just a filler punch to set something else up. Even those shots were making Quarry's head fly back. So it just looked like Joe was landing harder shots. But Quarry was landing some hard shots. He was turning his body into triple and double left hooks and uppercuts. And then same thing with him. When he stepped back and used a jab, he was getting the best of Frazier. It's like when both of these guys went to their jab and try to set it up like that, they got the best of the other guy. But it almost seemed like both these guys was like, nah, the hell with a jab. I just want to fight right in the phone booth. And I think Quarry, he did catch Frazier off guard a little bit in that first round. He backed him up in the rope. Looked like Joe probably lost his foot in a little bit, but he got hit with a punch and he got backed into the ropes. But his motor was something else, man. Joe Frazier's motor, it was something else. Joe didn't give Jerry any time to breathe. You know, it was like Jerry wanted to come out, make a statement, and then fall back a little bit and catch his breath. And that's where Joe was making him fight through that. He made him fight from you know what I mean, the sound of the bell to the end of the round. He made him fight the whole 3 minutes. There was no catching the breath. If you did catch your breath, you had to catch it on the inside when you were when they were kind of wrestling with each other and trying to maneuver with their arms. Great inside fighting. Some people might call it grappling, but it's just they're trying to position their gloves in certain positions to land their shots. They were working on the inside. I love watching this fight. For you short heavyweights, man, that want to learn how to fight on the inside, watch this fight. Watch how to position your feet, how they were turning their hips, how they were dipping and rolling with shots, parrying with a left hook, then coming back with their own left hook. There was one point in this fight where both of these dudes, I forget which round it was, but both of these dudes were throwing the same exact punches for like a 20-second spurt. It was like they both threw left hooks, both threw right hooks, like simultaneously. Like it looked like Rock'em Sock'em Robot, but it was to me, it was educated brawling. The way they were positioning their head and their shoulder on each other to try to get the momentum. How the other guy was trying to get his lead foot on the outside of the other guy's foot. To me, there was a lot of little subtle things going on in this fight. 1969, man, you know, so this around the time that Quarry, he had lost a decision to the blown up middleweight, but the dude has skills. My man Ellis, he lost to Ellis. And then he had a fight against, what's the guy's name? Buster Mathis. He beat him. All these fights are on YouTube, man. Go to Sweet Fights. Go to some of these YouTube channels, man. All these fights are on there. Not only Sweet Fights, but Mike Goodpaster, Hands of God, classic boxing matches, Fight Films guy. There's a few other YouTube channels, man, that have a lot of footage, you know, so I suggest you guys go to their channels, man, and appreciate those boxing channels here on YouTube and not just us, you know, bloggers or whatever you want to call us here on YouTube. But this is a great fight. Even Sonny Liston was still around. I know he ended up eventually getting knocked out face first against Cleotis Martin. A shocking turn of events in that fight. But he was around. Ellis was around. But, you know, after, you know, Ali's exile, people started to look at Joe as the man. And then he really just cleared things up when he went in there and he chopped down Ellis a little bit later. But to a lot of fans, just doing my reading and research, a lot of fans, this is the fight with Quarry that really made him come of age, was this fight right here, man. But Quarry was tough, you know, and then even they ended up rematching about 5 years later. In that fight, again, like I said, in that fight, Joe was using his jab. He was dinging, he was dinging Quarry up with the jab in that second fight. But this first fight was epic. Probably some of the best inside fighting that I've seen watching heavyweight fights. The combinations, the chin, the grit, the determination to not want to get pushed backwards. And it was because of a cut and swelling up his eye that the fight had to be stopped. Quarry was a guy you had to save from himself. He was that type of fighter, in my opinion. So was Joe. You know, but damn good fight, man. It's just my little post-fight reaction to this classic 1969 fight of the year. I'm out.